This is the official beware on the user Livvykjones of 420, but the user also is known as Livvykjones. She has multiple names that she goes by based on OCs or certain aliases, which she can be identified as the following usernames: Livvykjones, Jones.via420, or just simply put Jones.via, Star Wishes VA, Amy Pines, and Pyrus. We'll just call her Liv for the short version throughout this beware. Y'all need to be warned and informed that this documentation, everything that has been done by this user, is included with harassment, cyberstalking, mentions of rape threats, animal abuse, impersonation to cause a fallout between friends, use of slurs, death threats, use of several alts, transphobia, homophobia, insensitive mentions of Nazis and condoning the bombing of the Palestinians, gaslighting, manipulation, fat phobia, and victim blaming. These topics can get a bit dark, so please proceed with caution. I don't like making these videos. I never claimed to like doing this kind of thing. I was accused of making these sort of things because I'm trying to spread drama. That is not the case. Usually when I make bewares, it's to alert people that, hey, this person is doing some heinous shit. Please spread the word around. Do not harass the person, just take this as you will. Things need to be said and done and warned about. This person has done some heinous shit that goes back to almost over a decade ago. Truthfully, I have been wanting to stay away from a beware on this person because of how vindictive and manipulative and gaslighting she is. But it's not just me she's been affecting. She's been affecting my friend Drooby Doodles, who literally cut ties with Liv July of last year. So the fact that this is continuing is an absolutely wild scenario, because July of 2025 is when Liv and Drew cut ties. Why in 2026, granted more than a half a year later, is Liv still harassing Drew and now sending her little friend Taz to nitpick and harass me and Drew for getting together and venting out our frustrations about everything that this heinous individual has done? This is not okay. And Drew, at this point, has told me that what she has done has warranted a beware of some sorts. So I worked together with Drooby Doodles, and we do this together to warn people that, hey, this user is absolutely heinous, evil, even. Like, I honestly would stoop that low because she said some pretty fucked up things. So, this stuff dates back as early as 2015 when I met this user. So things may be out of order, but it's because the stuff dates back as far as 2015, and there's a lot of history of behaviors Liv has done to not only myself, but others, as well as things have been going on behind the scenes for years with me and her now ex-friend, Drew. Now, granted, she hasn't done anything to me since we cut ties in 2022, but the only reason I stepped in to make a beware is because as of July of 2025, things have gotten out of hand for Drooby Doodles as Liv will not stop harassing them now going into 2026. Ultimately, this has been an ongoing calamity months after Drew and Liv's fallout, and she will not leave Drew alone to this day. We are both deciding enough is enough. This has to stop, and a beware document and a video is warranted to get this full story out, since Liv is only telling one-sided things to her friends, which ultimately are now mine and Drew's ex-friends, because they have fallen for Liv's schemes and bullshit. In fact, back in 2022, there was an evil scheme that Liv did where she pretended to be me on an account called Remy Smallbean on Facebook, stealing my OC, pretending to be me, even trying to order art commissions as if she's me, buying Remy X Blitz art. And the things that she said, like through this account in DMs to Drew, was so bad to the point where admittedly Drew believed it was me, and they cut ties with me back in 2022, but they were conflicted because they didn't know what to believe after everything that happened. And we will get into that, but as of right now, Drew got back in contact with me back in 2025 when Liv pulled the shit that she did. And that's why we think that Liv is behind that account and has done a lot of other serious things. While this Beware video is about Liv, I do want to state that I never stated that my behaviors weren't bad back when I met her. I know I had some problems, but I have diagnosed Asperger's syndrome and severe mood disorder and bipolar disorder. So my behaviors when I first met Liv and Drew weren't as tame, I should say, as they are now. Because back then, I used to do things like call people names when they'd call me out on things I didn't do, or I would tell people that, hey, this person did this to me, beware of them. There was another instance where I called her friend group a bunch of dicks. I felt unincluded in the said friend group that Liv had, and I said, hey, I don't really like your friend group, so I'm not really going to engage with them. I was being honest. Looking back at those types of behaviors, I know that that was really bad. I'm not here to say, oh, this person's worse than me, I didn't do anything wrong. There are things I know I'm in the wrong for, and I want to take accountability for that because that is what a person does when they fuck up. I know I've messed up, and I wanted to just give this little disclaimer because I know that if Liv is stalking my page and seeing my content throughout a alternate account, I know she's gonna see this and warp some lies saying that I said some more heinous shit than I actually did. I just want to cover my bases to make sure that everyone knows that yes, I fucked up in the past. We all do. We're human, you know? Like, we make mistakes, and we are not destined to be flawless. Like, that is not something. There are no perfect human beings. That is not a thing. And the fact that I know I was a spoiled little brat when I was younger, but growing up now, I've come to terms that yes, I was a spoiled little brat. I did some heinous shit. I used to gaslight and manipulate people when I was younger, and I used to literally like guilt trip the fuck out of people. But then when people told me, hey Heather, this is what you're doing, you need to stop, I learned like, oh, that's really bad. I did that, and I opened my eyes to the mistakes I had done when I was a kid. And I took accountability. If you can't take accountability for your own actions, then there is something that seriously needs to be done, because you're going to push people away and people aren't going to tolerate it. And it just so happens that Liv, anytime she gets away with doing something, she lies or hides behind someone saying she didn't do anything, and they believe her. They believe her. Drew was a victim to this. Drew heard about lies that Liv made up about me, and they even fell victim to the Remy Smallbean account thinking it was me. Only to realize Liv was the one that was behind all of this all along. Liv has done so much. Like, there is so much that she will not take accountability for. She refuses to take accountability for all of the heinous things she has done to me and Drew. Anyway, I just wanted to let everyone know that because I'm trying to protect myself from all of the pathological lying that Liv has done, because I know she's spreading lies about me, and she's probably frantically panicking about the fact that a Beware document is out on her. And I know this because, again, she has a history of stalking me, according to Drew. Like, she actively bookmarks my Facebook page, and Drew has spotted her, even after a fallout that me and them had in 2022. Like, to this day, like, apparently Liv has my social media bookmarked to actively get to it for easy access to spy on me, to make sure I'm, and I quote, not talking shit about her. Well, her narcissistic ass is gonna love this then, because she loves to soak in drama like a sponge, and this video is all about her. Yay! So anyway, without further ado, this is the Beware on Livvykjones. Drew B. Doodles and I have worked together to organize this Beware as much as we could. There are a lot of things Liv has done to both of us. I can speak for myself when I say there's a lot of stuff I would like to get into that dates back as far as 2015. However, I will state that I don't have proof of a lot of the things before the date of 2017. I also want to convey that there was a lot of situations where when Liv was upset, she'd demand people to get on call with her, and she would start cussing people out in call and accusing them of things they didn't do. And there were also really suspicious things where she'd demand to be on calls with Drew or something, and she'd be like, oh, we can't really text it, it's important. To me, it sounds like she's trying to pull people into a Discord call so she can hide the fact that she's making things up and to cover her bases so no one can screenshot. So, the more serious topics that Liv has done are pretending to be Drew on her own account to accuse Heather of certain things back in 2017, death threats on Drew's family and loved ones, lying about a miscarriage. She and her boyfriend, that she's currently with, are Nazi lovers. She and her boyfriend support the bombing of the Palestinians, claiming she hopes Drew gets sexually assaulted in their sleep, making up career-ending accusations on me, lying saying I forced her to do sex roleplays when she was a minor. But she made up excuses when people asked for proof because she could not pull any up. It never happened, and I would never do that kind of thing. She has dead-named me. She's misgendered both me and Drew. Our pronouns are literally both we go by they, them. We are non-binary. She's displayed homophobia and has made transphobic comments. These next bits are less serious topics she has done that are worthy noting because they're still very bad. They're very bad. She has been known to stir up problems and cause unnecessary drama, misconstruing words and warping them when talking about other people, pathological lying. For those who do not know what a pathological liar is, it is a person who makes up lies and believes them and tells them to people. And then sometimes they make up lies so much that they can't keep their story straight. So there's a lot of that Liv literally portrays going through this. She supports AI generative art, including buying art off of DeviantArt that I found. She has stolen OCs from both me and Drew. She stole 2 of my OCs. She has also traced some of my art, manipulation, gaslighting, guilt tripping, turning mine and Drew's friends against us by warping shit and spreading misinformation, pretending to be me on a Facebook account named Remy Smallbean back in 2022, which did end up causing a temporary fallout between Drew and I. There are going to be links to her accounts, so you can go ahead and report her and block her. Please, by any means, do not attack this user. Despite the fact I may sound just a little petty in this beware, honestly. Maybe I shouldn't go about this the way I did, but I have no remorse for people who think it's okay to tell people that they hope they get raped. But in any case, I'm not making this beware to send people after Liv. I'm making this beware to warn others, as well as artists, because if she doesn't get her way, she will steal and thieve your OCs and trace your art and may turn them into AI. The following below is Drew's side of how this all started for Liv and them. I worked with Drew on a Discord call to make sure I got all of the information on what happened. I have Drewby Doodles here with me, and I would like to have them kind of explain their side of what happened with Olivia and their friendship. Feel free to say what happened, Drew.
Okay. So the beginning of these screenshots isn't necessarily provided, but essentially how this conversation started was Liv had texted me, "I love you," and I opened the message, but didn't get to respond right away. Because for context, I was currently using my phone to call my friend, so I was about to hang up and then text Liv back. And literally only a few moments later did Liv respond back saying, and I quote, "K, love being left on red," or whatevs. To which I responded, "You get used to it after a while," and I put a shrugging emoji. For context, for my text message, Liv had been leaving me on red on all social medias for months. It was just the norm at that point. I immediately did get fed up and responded in a petty fashion. The screenshots provided on screen are provided directly from the next morning after this incident. Heather had censored some names of people who aren't involved in what she's done, and what we want to do is keep them safe. We also had to censor Heather's dead name that was mentioned because Liv loved to dead name people and disrespect pronouns. Around the time of these provided screenshots, however, Heather and I weren't on speaking terms, so I had no idea that they went by Heather and they them pronouns. So me and Liv had left it at that. I didn't get a response from Liv after the last text message, so I thought we could take a break and cool off or something. I blocked her on everything just to take a break, except for Messenger and Snapchat, because that's where we mostly conversed. And when I was on my Snap, I had noticed that Liv was typing on her Snapchat, and it had been going for a minute, so I could only assume it was going to be something long and terrible. And before Liv could get a chance to say anything, I blocked her on Snapchat and then went out of my way and messaged her on Facebook Messenger and was like, wow, really dodged a bullet, didn't I? And then blocked her on there as well. And I have no problem taking accountability for being petty and engaging in this way. However, none of what I said could warrant this kind of response the next morning. For context of this screenshot, I had an old friend and I am no longer in contact with them because of some really, really fucking bad shit that happened between us. And Liv was really the only one that I confided in at the time. And then for her to say that I had used trauma against her, when in all of these screenshots, the only thing that I mentioned was her stealing problem, which in my opinion was and is still a real issue.
Mm-hmm.
And what she said at the end of this screenshot is really messed up.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh, and if you want to go on about some of the other stuff that's not in the, I didn't put this stuff in the written beware because it's all the things that happened on your end, and I didn't want to misconstrue anything. Like, for example,
No.
I know that she had stolen something from you, some kind of necklace, if you want to talk about that.
Oh, sure. So, for context, this was the first time I had ever been to her house in like 2015, 2016, and I had a Soul Eater necklace that I treasured very deeply. And this should have been seen as the first red flag of our friendship, but because I cared so much about her, I didn't really take matters into my own hands. She had been to my house once before. So the first time I went to her house, I had went to her bathroom and I had seen my Soul Eater necklace on the counter. And I had asked her about it and she told me that she ordered it online. But the funny thing about it was it had my teeth marks on it because it was a soft like silicone and I would gnaw on it. Like I had a problem.
I feel that I was like that too with my little pet shops.
Yeah, and I didn't think much of it because I was like, well, she also really likes Soul Eater, so I just wish that she would have at least asked, and I would have gave it to her without, second thought because I really cared about her.
That's how it should be, when you put people first and you're friends with someone, like, I'm like that too. I totally get that.
Yeah. I was like, take it, just take it. I just really wish that at the time, she would have at least admitted, hey, I borrowed it from you, because even then that wouldn't have been as bad as, oh, I just bought it online.
The first of many thieving problems, huh?
Yeah.
I know I really didn't mention that in the beware either that I wrote up with you, but...
Yeah, well, because it wasn't, to me, it didn't seem like that much of a big deal for everything else that she's done, but when it comes to our friendship, that was something that I should have taken more seriously, because it was the first of many red flags.
Right. I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, there was something with a lizard that she misconstrued to me a long time ago, that I know you wanted to talk about as well, that I didn't really put in the beware.
Yes. This genuinely upsets me because when it happened, I really, really thought that we were friends, because this was around the time where every other week I was going to her house. And granted, I didn't have a vehicle at the time, so she was making the drive to come pick me up. And I was really appreciative for it. I even gave her gas money at some points. There were times where I was like, hey, do you want gas money? And she was like, no, I don't need it. So I would just cover dinner that day. And long story short, without going into too many unnecessary details, we were spending the day out and letting her roommates, K and D, just hang out at the apartment by themselves. So we were hanging out and she wanted to go to a pet sense. And she was like, we're just going to look around. I like all the different animals. The reason we went was because she wanted to show me these 2 ferrets that were there. And when we went, they weren't there. So we were like, okay, we'll just look at different animals.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no.
Ferrets. Oh.
I remember this like it was yesterday, and the fact that I know more about it now that we're not speaking really upsets me. And
It's almost wild since she accused me of doing the things I apparently did to my ferret, but I didn't even do it.
oh yeah, no.
What's with her ferret obsession?
Who knows? She probably copied it from somebody and was like, "Oh, I love ferrets now."
Yeah.
Cough, cough. But yeah, so we were at the pet store and we were looking around, and we were looking at hamsters, and we found this gorgeous chameleon. I was freaking out. I was like, look how beautiful he is.
Aww.
And we left. Like, that was it. We left. We got to look at the chameleon, and then we left. And sure fucking enough, as we're driving off, she turns around and she's like, I forgot something. And I'm like, okay, maybe she's getting pet food. So we get out and we go in, and she immediately goes to the chameleon's cage. And she's asking the worker if she can hold him and all this other stuff. And I'm like, I don't say much because I'm not stupid. She's not gonna buy this chameleon.
Bruh.
And sure enough, I kind of black out, and we're in the car with the chameleon. She spent $700+ on the chameleon and all of its things that it needs.
Buying.
She has a bad history of it, and that's why I had mentioned in the screenshots before that she has bad habits of spending, and that's why she has so much issues with her bills. And I genuinely, and again, anybody who reads this or watches this can, be like, oh my God, that's a shitty thing to say. But knowing her for 10+ years, that is a ongoing issue that she has had, where she will spend money on things she doesn't need. And that's what causes her to have such issue with her bills. And I was genuinely...
The last time I spoke to her back in 2022, before she accused me of certain things we'll get into later, she had confided in me, and again, I know this is none of my business, and I know it's her business. She had even demanded I don't tell anyone and to keep my mouth shut when she told me. We were in a call, and she splurged over, literally might as well be $1,000 on a Black Butler art piece of her character and someone else, like a canon character from that anime, and...
Well, upon research, we found out that that person charges $1,000+. So it doesn't. Yeah, there's.
Drew wasn't mentioning or telling her that her spending habits were bad just to be a dick. Drew was saying it because they're worried. They were worried about her, and she kept complaining about bills and stuff. Well, maybe it's just. That's just an outside perspective, but maybe don't spend $1,000+ on art pieces. You wouldn't have this problem.
Exactly. And before I get back into the chameleon, very shortly, one of the things that sparked our argument was we were on call, and she was saying for her boyfriend's birthday, she was going to get a $300 Labubu keychain. And I had made the joke. Yeah. And I had made the joke where I was like, $300, that's not worth it for a keychain. That's crazy expensive.
Yeah.
And she said, and I quote, that, oh, well, it's fine for you because you get to mooch off of your husband. And that was the first time in 10+ years that she had said something like that to my face. So I'll admit, and she knows it's true. She won't admit it, but I did. I hung up on her. I was very upset that she had said that.
You had every right to. That's your friend for 10+ years. And if my friend if I had a friend like that I was, friends with for that long, I do not tolerate that kind of behavior. Basically, disrespect me, you don't get respect back.
Yeah, she knows that I don't mooch off of my husband. It's something that we've agreed upon together of our living style. And, not a lot of people are going to be happy about it, but it's not my fault. I'm very comfortable and very happy with where I am in life right now. And so, essentially, to complete the chameleon story off, from my perspective, was she took this chameleon home, and she had bought it worms. Dead worms, like mealworms, and it wouldn't eat them. And I had kept telling her, I was like, chameleons eat live prey. Like, that's something that they do. And we set her cage.
I used to have a bearded dragon growing up. It was my baby named Minx, and I fed that thing crickets and mealworms all its life. So yeah, you're not supposed to feed it dead things. They don't go after dead things unless it's moving and squirming around. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. They just, you were an owner of them. They just don't flourish off of dead things. Like, they eat live prey. And I had said that to her. So she went and picked up some roaches for it while I set up the entire cage with this thing on my head because it would not get off of me. And I'm not saying that like a bad thing. I was very happy that it liked me,
Aww.
And I didn't want to just leave it in its little box. So I was like, hey, buddy, if you just want to like smell around, the cat's put away. But he would not get off of me. He was very attached. And so yeah, long story short, that chameleon lasted less than 24 hours because within the 24 hours, we had him set up. Mind you, he was on the floor in the living room. Her cat free roams. I had already mentioned that was going to be an issue, but she didn't take it seriously. Even her roommates had said, hey, we can put him in our room if need be, where he could be safe. And the next morning we woke up, his tail was gone and the cage was open. So we all assumed, except for her, of course, because her cat can do no wrong, that her cat got in there and ate his tail because it wasn't in there. And I understand that some lizards can like take them off to like ward off predators, but like it was gone. Like it wasn't in there detached or anything. And I ended up leaving the next day to go back home. And she called me late at night crying, having a panic attack because she could not feed him. Like, she wasn't brave enough to get the roaches out and feed him. So she woke her roommate up out of a slumber and got them to feed it for her. Next thing I know, I wake up the next day and her roommate Kay texts me and is like, hey, do you know where Liv is? She's gone and so is the chameleon. I know from unfortunately nosing around, and I regretted it at the time, but before I left, Liv was letting me use her tablet and I was doodling on it and she kept getting notifications popping up and I had noticed one of them caught my eye and it was like, how much do you want for the lizard? So she was essentially under all of our noses, and again, it was her money, her business, so I didn't say anything, but she was essentially trying to sell the chameleon because she knew she couldn't take care of it. And then, come to find out, just a couple months later, like not later, but recently, just a couple months ago, I find out from Heather that she was telling not only Heather, but her roommates that I took the chameleon and my dog ate it. Like she apparently bought the chameleon for me, which was something that she never told me, not once.
Yeah, no, she lied saying that you took the chameleon and ripped it away from her.
Yeah, instead of taking accountability and being like, hey, I wasn't mentally ready for this, it was an impulse buy. Instead of doing that and coming forward and taking accountability, she made up lie after lie. And told Heather that I stole it, and then told, ooh, yeah, you might have to edit that.
Oh, you're good, I can edit that.
Yeah, but, took redacted and was like, hey, I got the chameleon for Drew. And that really, really, really messed me up because at the time we were quote unquote best friends and I really thought that she liked me and cared about me. But time and time again, I have found out that she was talking about me and making up lies and just being a really, really shitty friend. And I go back to that Instagram message every now and then, and I'm just trying to understand what I said to her that was so traumatic for her to warrant saying what she said to me.
There's just so much. And I mean, I'm just, it's flabbergasting and ridiculous, and she's such a vindictive person. She'll do anything she can to go out of her way to, like, harm people and get revenge, even though we weren't really, or at least you at the time, when you two had a fallout, you didn't really necessarily do anything remotely as bad as she's claiming you did, which is
No,
really sad. Like,
I have tried to think about it really hard, and I have had talks with not only a therapist, but with my partner, because he's known Liv for a really long time. And everyone is telling me, they're like, look, y'all both weren't very nice to each other, but at the end of the day, you didn't bring up any traumatic things, and you weren't being purposely mean. Like, the worst thing that I had said was she wasn't going to get into the Marines with her record. And that is a genuinely true thing. If she wants to better her life and do something like that, she's not going to be able to do it if she continues to have this stealing problem that she has. And it's not even in the Beware, but I found out from her roommate that she somehow managed to steal an entire Switch light
oh my God.
from Walmart. Yeah, I literally, like, her roommate literally told me that she was with her when she did it, and I've been with her when she stole things. And it is a scary thing to be around, because not only is she going to be in trouble, but the person with her is going to be in trouble. And I don't want to get in trouble for something I didn't do and something that I told her not to do. Like, She literally stole a pair of turquoise scissors because they matched her furniture. Like, it's one thing to steal food because you don't have enough money to pay for it. Like, if you have to steal food, I'm blind all of a sudden.
Right.
But stealing scissors or pop heads because you need to complete a set that you don't have, it's a real problem, and it's gonna follow you later in life.
Right. Well, I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to mention or convey in this before we stop this little recording tidbit, but yeah, just let me know.
Yeah, as far as everything else that's on the Beware, there's nothing more that I can think of. Pretty much covered all bases. I'm just, I really just wanted her to change and be a better person, but from the looks of her behavior, it's not going to happen.
Right. Well, thank you, Drew, for helping me with this, and hopefully we can get this all out and done and over with. Maybe she'll leave you alone when she sees this and she likes to stalk me.
Yeah, which fully thought that she would have been done doing that, but as she says, she has a life to live. So I guess her life living is stalking.
And being obsessed with me and now you, which is wild. All right.
God.
I'm gonna end this little recording off.
Okay.
Like I said, there is a lot of things that Liv has done, and it's just absolutely upsetting that she's gotten away with it for so many years. Not anymore. Because we are not letting her slide with this anymore. You can only pathologically lie and make shit up and warp things for so long before things start not making sense. Which ropes me into the next situation I really want to talk about. As Drew stated in the little Discord recording that we did, there was a situation that happened that was a very traumatic event, and the only few people that knew of said event at the time of 2022 was me and Liv. Now, the alt account that Liv did, where she casually made an alt account and said the thing at the end where she hopes that Drew gets, raped in their sleep. There was another instance that was extremely fucked up that happened to me, Liv, and Drew, that forced Drew and Liv to cut ties with me in 2022. However, little did Drew know, the thing that happened was not even me, or my fault. So back in 2022, I was friends with Liv and Drew, and around then I was kinda gaining traction, starting out in the helluva-boss fandom with my OC Remy. This was back when Remy used to strictly just be an imp. Nowadays, Remy is literally a succubus shark hybrid, but I changed Remy's design, honestly, mostly because I felt that their design was a little too basic, as well as, if I'm being really honest with you, one of the main reasons why I changed Remy's design to be completely different is because the following events I'm about to talk about has traumatized me. Traumatized me to the point that I just could not look at Remy's old art and old design for the longest time because this is all I can think of. Anyway, on Facebook, there was an account going around and copying my posts word for word verbatim, copy pasting. And they went by the name of Remy Smallbean. Now, the only Facebook accounts at the time for the Helluva fandom that I was fully active in was my Heather Feather. I had a dead name account that I actually don't use anymore. And there was one called Heather Bean and Remy Bean or something along those lines. The Remy Smallbean account was not me. Now, the reason I bring up this incident is again because me and Drew have every reason to believe that Livvykjones is behind all of the crap the Remy Smallbean account did. Please stand by, as what you're about to see is wild. If you know my mannerisms, the way I type, the words I say and don't say, and then you look at Liv and how she types and all the screenshots that I display on this, beware, the word choices she uses, she essentially pretends to be me. But there's a lot of things the Remy Smallbean account says that I don't even say. Like, for one of the instance, there was an instance where the account says, "Oh, I'm quaking in my boots." What the fuck does that even mean? I don't even use that. I don't even use that, dude. Like, what? And there was another instance where the account says BBs or babes. I don't say that either. I call people fam and bruh or bro. Like, I don't say BB or beebs or babes. If you're gonna impersonate me, at least try to get my fucking mannerisms right. Like, dude. It's just wild. I hate talking about this, and I'm trying to keep things professional and keep a straight face, but it is hard because the fact that she thinks that she was able to pull off my personality is fucking crazy because she was not even close. So then you look, basically, during the time it happened back in 2022, she ended up fooling not only Drew into thinking it was me though, but also my other friends from that time cut ties because of her. And the thing is, Drew feels really bad, you know, and they didn't realize, you know, they started putting two and two together because of the Instagram alt and one of the things that the Remy Bean account or the Remy Smallbean account had said. In the beginning, none of us had any idea who the hell was behind the Remy Smallbean account. I just thought it was someone that was like jealous of me and was wanting to impersonate me and steal my character. I don't know. This situation has never happened to me. This was my first time, which is crazy. The Remy Smallbean account already had like quite a few bewares on it. As the word was spreading, literally the word was spreading like wildfire that someone stole Remy and was pretending to be me. Even going out of their way to comment on posts in helluva-boss Facebook groups trying to purchase art of Remy and Blitz from other artists. Proof in the picture, proof in the video here will be popping up and I'll show everything here. She even told someone to, and I quote, KYS. And a bit of context with that is there have been past history of Liv actively telling me, and I quote, KYS on some of her own accounts when we'd had fallouts in, like, for example, 2017 or 2016. I tried searching for the screenshots. However, I don't know if it happened on DeviantArt or where it happened. I forget, but I know she told me, and I quote, KYS. So that's a bit of context and why I think that this is further proving that, yeah, that account is Liv. And it honestly checks out that she'd say shit like that. Another instance is, she would actively post on helluva-boss groups on this Remy Smallbean account and comment essentially trying to pretend to be me. And I have screenshot proof of her actively going out of her way to try to say that she wants to commission someone of Art of Remy and Blitz, which is funny because if this was if this was me, I do not have money like that to throw around. My commissions barely popped off until late 2023, and I hardly bought commissioned art. Another reason why I think this account is Liv, because as Drew mentioned in that little Discord call, Liv has a nasty habit of spending. Like, she has a habit of just impulse buying. And around this time, she had mentioned to me that she spent over $1,000 on some Black Butler anime art piece. And I looked it up, and Drew looked it up. That person does indeed charge about $1,000 for their work, so that just checks out. Again, I know that's not really my business to be bringing that up on her, but I'm using this as an example that this bitch had money to spend. So even to this day, I feel like, yeah, maybe she is behind this Remy Smallbean account, because I take her to be the petty type of person to go out of her way to literally buy art and impulse buy just to make me feel like shit. She's that bad. Like, this account does display things and behavior like that, and I'll get more into that later. I was fed up with the account using my comfort character. As someone with autism, Asperger's syndrome, I tend to really hardcore vibe with my characters, and I use them as a source of comfort. My therapist told me that it's a healthy thing to draw what I draw and to get comfort from the things that I find comforting when I'm depressed, because I also suffer from severe anxiety and major depressive disorder. It's a big thing, and when people start stealing my characters and latching onto them and, you know, using them without my consent and essentially just taking what's not theirs, it triggers me. Like, it's a very upsetting thing. Nowadays, you know, Remy and Taziri and all my other characters have been stolen so much by fans that I just kind of shrug it off now. I've learned to, like, shrug it off and be like, you know, whatever, they can fucking steal. I guess in this mindset, I'm like, okay, well, I guess my characters are popular enough to be stolen. That's fun. But anyway, as of yesterday, which was the 8th of January 2026, I showed Drew the following screenshots. For the first time ever since 2022, because they never saw this shit. And the back and forth I went with the Remy Bean account. And the first thing Drew said, and I quote, was, "That is definitely Olivia-coded behavior. Oh my god." Liv has this habit of talking like this because she's a very spoiled person. And when she doesn't get what she wants, she makes something happen. Like, she'll literally do things out of spite just to get her way. And the fact that she also has a habit of buying OC adopts before anyone else can, that by the way, she never uses any of her OCs. It's wild. She even bought an OC she knew I was going to buy. And she bought it behind my back and then later said that we could co-own it, and then she ripped it away from me even though she said I could have it. We'll go into that later. So I kind of figured, you know, maybe she was jealous around mid-2022 that I was actually getting a lot of traction in the Helluva fandom. She didn't like that. That's my theory. Because people love Remy, they even simp for Remy. I've even had people get mad at me because I wouldn't draw OCX Remy with them. I'm uncomfortable with that. So really, she's jealous of a fictional character, at least from my perspective, that's what it seemed like. But you know, around this time when I was engaging with the Remy Smallbean account, I had no idea who it was. But saying the whole, I already have 4 people drawing Remy for me. Okay. Cool. Waste of money. And she was like, not to me, because you won't get to see it. That screenshot alone literally showed Drew that is some stuff that Olivia would do. And I'm like, oh. Well, what else has the Remy Smallbean done that is similar to Olivia and what she's done? It was to the point where Liv suddenly started getting overly angry at me and accusatory. Because apparently, Apparently, the Remy Smallbean account texted her. She went and she started engaging in texting the Remy Smallbean account, and I have all the screenshots she sent to me of this situation. And the account suddenly threw something in Liv's face about her boyfriend and his ex-wife. And that apparently only me, Drew, and Liv knew about. Now, I didn't know this, and Drew didn't know this, but this is where some pathological lying went around, because this is also some he said, she said bullshit. Apparently, according to Drew, Liv and Drew were conversing around the time that Liv messaged this account, and Liv said, "Oh, well, the Remy Smallbean account is definitely Heather or you," as in Drew, like she was literally actively blaming Drew. And she was like, "Oh, it said some things about how I was doing sexual things with my boyfriend," and he cried out his ex-wife's name. As you can see in the screenshots, that never happened. And she got mad at me. She like actively demanded me to get in call. And then she accused me of being behind the Remy Smallbean account. And from Drew's perspective, Liv never showed these screenshots. I got confirmation Drew has never seen these screenshots before. And when I showed them to Drew, Drew was like, "I'm sorry. She made it out to be, like, worse than it was." She said, and I quote, "Where's your man sleeping with his wife, I presume?" You could literally say that to anyone, and it could be vague. Like, people say that all the time to people, just to try to, like, one-up them, being like, "Oh, yeah, you're a side hoe," kind of thing. Like, that's what because I had messaged, or I had talked to Liv on a call when she was being accusatory, and I said, "Well, to be fair, the whole 'where's your man sleeping with his wife, I presume,' you know, it could be just coincidental." And on the sidelines, I was in the dark because apparently Liv was saying to Drew and their friends that, "Oh, it can't be." Heather was saying that it was it was a coincidence, and Drew was like, "No, no way. That's too specific to be coincidental." But the account never said that. Where is this setup coming from? Like, what is this? Like, also the account is going back and forth, talking and doing stupid elementary insults that are stupid. When I insult someone myself, you know, of course I don't go about insulting people, but if I were to insult people, I'm a little bit more intelligent about it. This person, Olivia, has a collapsed mind state. She cannot get into the Navy because she literally failed her exam. And I'm sitting here right now and I'm gonna tell you right now, you must be stupid if you cannot pass a Navy test. I hear that those are easy to get into. Now, I could say I'm not actually calling her stupid. No, I am. I'm calling her stupid. I'm sorry. Like, I'm gonna say it point blank. You're stupid for pulling this shit and not making it look convincing. You are stupid for going around trying to pretend like you're me on an account that doesn't know how to do my mannerisms. And yet you lie, and there's just so much shit that I can say that you're stupid for, but like, this is bad. Like, here, put two and two together. If Liv, for whatever reason, is watching this, here, how's this? Put two and two together. What on earth, like, why on earth would you think that me, the Feather Sketch Creations, Heather, why would you think that I would go out of my way to to stop whatever I'm doing, to make an alt account on Facebook, post my own art on said alt account, then make a beware on my Heather Feather account and all over my social media to say, "Hey, beware, there's an account stealing my stuff"? Why would I do that? I'm sitting here, like, can you sit here and tell me why I would do that? Also, the fact that you're like, "Oh, you threw this in my face and you said some things," specifically, you didn't even go around on the Remy Smallbean account to to any of my friends, and you didn't say any of this information to random people, you could have just spread all the misinformation about your ex, Aaron. And you could have just went like to other people and spread it that way. Why would I be stupid enough to throw information in people's face that told me the information? Do you have no brain cells? Is your mind state that fucking clapped that you think that people are going to, that you think I do that? Are you for real right now? Like, and again, I know I shouldn't be this petty, but I'm at this point where she has done this to me and has continued to do things to me, and now Drew, to the point where I just don't have any remorse. I'm very calloused, and I have no problem calling this person stupid and calling her mind state clapped, because it just does not make sense to me. And Liv was like, oh, well, Heather's doing this for attention, obviously, and stirring up drama. That's why she'd make the Remy small bean account. Casually just dead naming me, and she loves mispronouncing people. So my response to the whole attention seeking and stirring up drama. The thing about me that everyone knows is I'm not afraid to vent publicly. I'm not afraid to call someone out publicly. I don't need to hide behind an alt to say what's on my mind. Again, I have Asperger's syndrome, and because of this, I'm a very blunt person, and I'm not afraid to say what I want to say to people. If that makes me a bad person, I don't think it does. I'm a very caring person. I have so many people in my life that love me, and they look up to me because I'm not afraid to tell people, hey, shut the fuck up. Stop acting a fucking fool. Get your shit together. Put it all up in a bag. And put it all up in a backpack. I don't care where you put it. Get your shit together. Like, dude, like, seriously, like, I have no problem being on my main account to call someone out. And I know that doesn't look professional, but I'm not a professional. I do what I do on YouTube and Twitch and Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and DeviantArt and Blue Sky and Kara because I love doing what I love doing. It just so happens that I have quite a big follow base. It just so happens that I have almost 16k subs. I'm grateful for everyone who supports me, but I'm not gonna let fame and fortune turn me into an evil, malevolent person. I apologize if I'm rambling about this, but I'm just trying to state that if I'm going to stir up drama, hypothetically speaking, if I did want to stir up drama, I could just do it right here and now, like on my freaking main social media. I don't need an alt to do it. So why she thinks it was a smart idea to go on an alt account to say things that I definitely wouldn't say. I would never say to someone that I hope you get raped. That is a horrible thing to say. I would never say that kind of thing. And there was also some allegations where I was being accused of being a racist person. And I want to clear that up as well, since I know she's probably throwing this shit around. I was hacked. I was hacked. I've seen the messages when I was hacked. I didn't get my Facebook account back for a good bit before I realized I was hacked. And the way the person on my account was typing, again, was not the way I type. They were typing, honestly, similar to how Liv typed. And it was really weird because I don't type with the you are stinky, and they just type with the letter U and the letter R. That's how that account was typing. And she was using that against me, saying that I said racial slurs, and that's not true. People who know me, I was even dating someone for the longest time, and he even told me just recently, yeah, people who know you, including me and myself, know that you are not racist. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not. So I got hacked, and around that time, I made a post, and I guess Drew didn't see it at the time. So Drew reached out to honestly just message the Remy Small Bean account. And that's why I have a screenshot here that Drew gave me here in 2025. They gave me this when we got back in contact. And that's why Drew was kind of going in on the account, asking why I would be racist, because they were trying to get information out of the account. And the account was, again, trying to type like it was me, and then at the bottom says, and I quote, "I'm not gonna sit here and argue with someone who let a black guy rape them. So best of luck with that, my guy." God, I hate reading this shit because it is so fucked up. Well, I want to talk about this because this is why we think that this is the main reason why we think this is Liv. Because if you look at the comparisons of that message from the Remy Smallbean account to the one that was recently sent to Drew on an alt on Instagram, yeah, that is 100% Olivia Jones, and I'm not here for it. And at the time, she got away with, you know, this Remy Smallbean account got away with turning Drew against me, because Drew for a while believed it was me behind that account and was hurt, and rightfully so. Like, if you're gonna sit there and throw trauma that happened to you in someone's face, like, that is horrible. And it's just the fact that like, oh God, I have no words. Like, there are no words for throwing rape in people's face and thinking it's okay and moral to do. Like, this is one of the reasons why I think it's warranted to make a beware, because this bitch has ruined my life, and now she's going out of her way to ruin Drew's life. And we're not gonna let this happen anymore. The only people at the time that knew about the trauma that happened to Drew was me and Liv. And now it's out in the open, of course, with Drew's consent. I didn't do this without their consent, but now it's out in the open, so everyone knows. Because she went out of her way to pretend to be me, which, by the way, she did a horrible job. You need to add more F-bombs in there, because I swear like a motherfucker. But, you know, just because I swear a lot doesn't mean I'm vulgar and crude. It's just, you know, when I moved out of my family's house, the F-bomb became, like, the #1 word in my vocabulary. All my friends are the same, too. So, yeah, you need a little bit more F-bombs in there. And you need to start talking like me, because my stims are not, I don't do emojis like that. I'm not a freaking sarcastic piece of shit like Liv, so... yeah. Disclaimer. That was sarcasm. Anyway. That is why we believe the Remy Smallbean account is 100% Olivia. Because after she got her way and pushed me out of Drew's life, and she got Drew to herself, that account suspiciously, mysteriously vanished and, like, deactivated. Out of thin air. Like, I looked it up like a month later just to see if it was like doing anything. It was gone. Like, I could not find it. And then I looked through like the messages where I like kind of like provoked the account to like try to call me. It was gone. It was like the Facebook picture was like completely like gone, and it said Facebook user. She deleted the account, which again was extremely sus. Like, yeah, spoiled brat behavior. She got what she wanted. She pretended to be me. Unfortunately it worked. But not anymore. So we know the truth. We know the truth. We put 2 and 2 together, because she fucked up and said what she said on Instagram and pulled an oopsie doopsie. So, the last time I actually heard from Liv, in 2022, before she cut ties with me and blocked me, was this screenshot where she was accusing me of, sympathizing and venting. I had posted a long vent thing. It was a little vent art comic thing. It had like 30 plus pages of a vent comic on my Facebook. I never named names. I never said names, but it was literally like me freaking out about losing all the friends that I've had. And I kept people anonymous. I was afraid of losing Drew. I was afraid of losing someone else that I'm not going to mention in here because I want to keep them redacted. And I was afraid of losing Liv, because, I mean, again, I didn't know all the heinous shit that she was doing behind the scenes. So, I mean, I didn't know. So I did a vent because I was hurt. I was just distraught, you know? Like, and she got pissy. and started getting big mad that people kiss my ass when I post stuff. And it's like, it's not that I was posting vent for people to suck up and like, you know, seek for attention. I post vent art because that's what my therapist tells me to draw vent art. And I end up posting my vent art because if I work hard on something, yeah, I'm gonna post it because I like to share my work. Is that such a crime? And I never even mentioned anyone's name in the vent either, which is funny because she got upset and it looks bad on her for getting big mad about it. Because, oh, yeah, I left it anonymous, so it's kind of sus that you're getting openly upset about it publicly. So, yeah. Anyway, the whole thing about the Remy Smallbean, again, she kept continually throwing me under the bus in this screenshots, trying to tell me to prove that it wasn't me. How am I supposed to prove that it wasn't me when you were the mastermind behind it all? She was playing the victim card, putting an entire show on, being very pressed and accusatory about me being behind an account that I don't even need to start drama. After I blocked her, another account came up, and this shit is wild because this is like I said, this is an alt account called Charlie Campbell. And the wild shit is she admits at the bottom of her message, like a dumbass, like I'm talking clapped mind state, no brain cells having, by the way, it's Olivia if you didn't know, which further shows and proves that she makes alt accounts when people block her. She does block evasion and doesn't respect people's privacy and boundaries by going out of her way to make alt accounts to not only stalk, but to attack and harass people. You can see her messages here though, where she accuses me of things that I didn't do. And she also was, convinced that I apparently ate my ferret, which I used to have a ferret back, it was like 2018, 2019. But I didn't end up keeping the ferret because my mom had to rehome it because she got tired of like keeping up with it. I had a little bit of problems with taking care of my pets and my mom had to help me out. And it wasn't that I was, trying to abuse them. Like I love my animals, like I'm such an advocate for like animal safety, and it's just I had a really bad sleep schedule living with my family back then, and my mom was the type of person that was like, if you don't get up right now to take care of your pets, they're gonna starve. And I'm like, that's not how that works. Like that's the whole thing. And the situation where she mentions in this Charlie account that I when she tried to reach out to my mom and I yelled at her. I wasn't yelling at my mom, I was yelling at Liv. Because when you're getting actively involved talking to my family and asking personal questions about my life, that's where I'm like, dude, this is personal, don't fucking do that shit. Another thing I want to note is I did end up replying to that Charlie account, but I couldn't find the screenshots I took around the time that account existed. But the proof I have, the only proof I have that I replied to the account is a Facebook user, the dates that these were sent, and the time. The timestamp is 7:12 at September 13th, 2022. And I admit I accused both Drew and Liv of being behind the Remy Smallbean account. And I felt awful accusing Drew, because why would Drew? Because Drew bawled their eyes out when that account whipped out the whole rape thing. And I mean, maybe I shouldn't have accused Drew, but there was a lot of things that had happened where I thought Drew was a toxic person when they actually weren't. It was Liv all along. And you can see the timestamps on both screenshots are 7:12 a.m. and then the Charlie one is 7:12 a.m. as well. So that's how you can tell that they're the same. But she deleted that account trying to hide her tracks when I had these on hand, and I whipped them. I'm whipping them out so fast because I am not gonna tolerate this shit. I had these for so long, and I had a feeling, I probably shouldn't delete these. They might come in handy, and here we are. I had a feeling that something like this would come in handy. The only thing and the only reason why I mostly screenshotted this is because she literally gave off animal abusing allegations, and she accused me of abusing my animal, my ferret, and she literally accused me of killing my ferret and eating it when I have proof otherwise. that my mom and I rehomed her. It's wild. Like, here's proof that I actually, like, as I was making this Beware, I messaged my mom, like, last night as of January 8th to ask. I was like, hey, Mom, I'm sorry if you're asleep. Do you remember that ferret I used to have named Mocha? Where did I rehome it to? She said pet store in... I'm not going to say the name of the fucking city the pet store is. That'd be doxing myself. But, yeah. And I have 2 screenshots where I told my mom, Liv was like, I found screenshots that Liv was accusing me of like killing my ferret, and my mom replied, simply put, that that's terrible. And I called her this morning as well, and I have a little bit of a recording here where I like continued the conversation.
Hello?
Hi, Mom. I'm sorry if I woke you last night with the questions. I was in the middle of writing a freaking Beware.
Oh, I was up. I was asleep on the couch and then I woke up. I was watching TV.
Yeah, I was trying to cover my bases about the fucking ferret because she was making up lies saying that I killed it.
That's ridiculous. You not gonna get banned again, are you, on Facebook?
No.
Good.
The only reason why I brought it up was because, I'm making a Beware, and I was making a Beware publicly. And I just, wanted confirmation that, I took, you took the ferret to a store.
Right.
It's just ridiculous about all the he said, she said bullshit, basically.
Right. I know, she's starting that up after all these years.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. If you were with me when all the shit that she did, like.
Oh, I know.
Giving me like hell and everything. Like I'm so tired of this. It's been a decade.
Mm-hmm. I know it.
It's bad.
Yeah, is she bothering you anymore?
No, but she sent. You remember that girl Taz?
Yeah.
From. She sent Taz after me.
Huh.
And Taz was like, "Oh, this is immature. Olivia hasn't done anything wrong." Well, the proof is in the Beware. The proof's in the Beware that she did do things wrong. A lot of stuff. I just dug and I found screenshots of her saying, and I quote, "What happened to your ferret? Did you eat it? Did you kill it? It's awfully suspicious it just disappeared." No, we took it to a store so it could have a better life. I couldn't handle dealing with it.
Yeah, 2 of them. And the second one, you just, that's when you and had it together, I think. The second one.
Yeah. Anyway, after that debacle, I hadn't heard from Liv since. So, going back to 2015 of July, when Liv and Drew cut ties, Drew started to reevaluate a friendship with Liv. Because, like, they were just taking a break. But after throwing trauma in Drew's face not once but twice, when Liv sent what she said on the alt account, it made Drew conflicted about the Remy Smallbean account and all of the shit that the account had said to Drew. So, yeah, Drew put 2 and 2 together and figured that they think that it's Liv that was behind that account. And they reached out to me, and we rekindled our friendship in July of last year. And they told me everything that went down. I then told Drew that Liv had talked crap about Drew behind their back all the time since I've known both of them. And again, this was on a call, so I have like no proof for everything that Liv had talked about behind Drew's back. But an example would be the chameleon situation that was mentioned in the previous recording that Drew and I had available. I even showed Drew screenshots of Liv starting drama and making me and Drew fall out, all because Liv pretended to be Drew on her own account. Like, it is bad. Like, Drew was, like, stating that, no, I've never once had an account password to get into Liv's Facebook. Like, that's what they told me. Because Liv is just vile. Like, who does this shit, dude? It's so bad. It's like she gets jealous that Drew had other friends. And that's another situation that happened before Drew and Liv fell out. Like, Drew posted a picture of their friend, we'll call them you, And that friend and Drew, they were like going on a double date, and Drew said, so I forget the name of the snap, I'll put it in the text, but there was something that said, I love my best friend, or something along those lines. Liv got jealous and said, I thought I was your best friend. And the really fucked up part about that is red flag behavior. You can have more than one best friend. Like, dude, my best friends, literally everyone in my friend group that I have are like, they're all my best friends. You can have more than one best friend. Another serious topic I really want to mention in this is that after Drew cut ties, literally not even like days later, Liv still continued to harass Drew. Legit, even went out of her way to text Drew's mom, a woman who loved Liv very much because, you know, they grew up together. They grew up together. And she told Drew's mom that Drew's mom should have swallowed. I tried asking Drew if there was any proof of this, but Drew was on a phone with their mom when this all came about. Now, Liv even gave her family members Drew's contact info and even their family's contact info, and started to harass the fuck out of Drew. Here's pics. I got the pics on screen if anyone wants to take a look. There was another instance where Drew got a fucking phone call the same day when someone was like, the police are going to arrive soon. Maybe think twice before stealing someone's OC, you slut. For context, now that we're getting into the theft portion of like character theft and art theft portion, for context, Olivia's OC is this character, Tadaki. Drew's OC is this one named Momo. Drew never stole Liv's OC. However, Liv thinks it was an adorable flex to steal Drew's OC, and not only that, but to feed it through AI and use it as her cover photo. Drew and Liv used to ship two characters together named Tadaki and Riniko. That was their babies. Like, I remember being on DeviantArt a lot and constantly seeing Drew draw them. Like, they loved this ship. Like, both of them loved this ship. And there would be instances where Tadaki kind of like, you know, changed over time. The character on the left doesn't even look like that anymore. Drew kind of like changed them up a lot, but it was still technically Liv and Drew's character. They were co-owning together. And it got to the point where before the fallout, Liv was demanding for Tadaki's ownership. And Drew was like, no, you know, you never draw that character anymore. I'm not gonna just give you the character. You need to pay up because I've put so much effort and time into the art pieces, and I'm not just gonna give you this character. Unless you pay up, I'm not giving her to you, essentially. Well, Liv couldn't even pay up any money, and, you know, Drew just kind of like changed up Tadaki, or made the character into her own thing, essentially. And the character's name is now Momo. And so yeah, the character that Liv is referring to is an old design that Liv had. And the one that Liv was trying to demand isn't even the same character as the original one that Liv had. And again, Drew never stole Liv's OC. Liv stole Drew's OC. And this is the result that I found while snooping around and sleuthing and trying to find any evidence on her as I could. The cover photo on her Twitter account is literally Drew's OC, Momo. She not only stole the OC, but she fed Momo through AI, and it spat this out. Like, I'm sorry, who stole whose OC? It leads me to the next topic, which I didn't even realize until I found an AI thing on DeviantArt while searching Livvykjones to find her content. There is a stupid AI account on DeviantArt called Pudding X Adopts, and there is an OC, quote-unquote OC, on that account that was bought. Like, I'm talking bought by the user Livvykjones. And she's using that OC as her main picture on all her social medias. Like, dude, It's an AI character she blasted $7 on. Like, dude. And before anyone asks that, you know, oh, she probably didn't think it was AI. No, she should have known, because it says in the description of said art piece, by buying, you acknowledge that this adopt was made with AI tools. You will be given 24 hours to send payment. After purchase, you will receive a downloaded version of the unwatermarked version of this adopt. If you would like to remain anonymous, please note me. She could have remained anonymous. She could have remained anonymous, but she literally was stupid. Stupid! And put her name up. So I was able to find that, and I'm just sitting here like, dude supports AI. She supported an AI artist, which is bad to me, and it's like, dude, there's a special place in hell for this motherfucker. And I can vouch that it's kind of fitting for her to support AI, which is really sad, because she has had a history of stealing my OCs and tracing my art. She accused me one time. Actually, she pretended to be Drew on her own Facebook and accused me of thieving Drew's art, which never happened. And the fact that she bought an OC, or that she bought an OC she knew was AI and is using it as her main again is like wild behavior. Because here's proof that she stole art from me by tracing it. Some really choppy art I did of a My Little Pony character that used to be my pony Sona named Serenzi, back when I used to go by Ocean Drift Waterlog. And you can see the date she actually traced was a few months after I posted the initial art piece. She also showed me that she traced her OC over an Inkpots animatic, which is an MLP artist that did things like Everyday a Little Death. And you can see she put her Pinkie Pie recolor, Star Wishes, in as a Over the Fluttershy here off the Inkpots animatic. On top of this shit, she steals OCs, like I said. Like, it's not just Momo. Back when I used to be in the Star Versus fan, oh god, this is a really fucked thing. I hate bringing this up, but, you know, it is important and relevant, and I feel awful that I'm bringing this up so many years later. But back when I used to be in the Star Versus fandom, back in, like, I want to say 2017, 2018-ish, Liv pressured and prodded me to have an OC I received from someone that we'll just call T, to keep them anonymous. Liv didn't want to stop begging me for the rights to this certain OC, because I connected with this character. I did not want to give this character to Liv. Like, I wanted this character, but because on calls, Liv continued to beg me and poke me and prod me and ask to have the OC. She was like, please, can I have this OC? Please, she's so cute. Oh my god, I love her. Oh my god. We could ship her with this character, da-da-da. And I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up. And I will admit, I shouldn't have given her the character. Sorry, bird. My bird in the background. I will admit, I should have just stood my ground. But the thing is, I had a problem with saying no to people. You know, it just so happens that Liv got her way, and she used her begging and guilt tripping to essentially make me give her an OC that I was reluctant to give to her in the first place. Ultimately, around that time, Liv had a fallout with me, and I forget what this fallout was because we had a lot of fallouts together. But it was before I realized and opened my eyes that she's worse than I thought she was. And I admit, I got a little bit angry. And this is a bad thing. I really shouldn't have done this. But because I noticed she never drew the OC, I took the character back, called her Mocha, and called it a day. And like, I started drawing that character like crazy, because it's like, okay, well, she pressured and poked and prodded me to give her a character that she's never gonna use, and I didn't even want to give this character out to begin with. I wanted it. Long story short, I felt guilty as fuck, almost maybe half a year later, and I gave the character back to Liv, and I reached out and said, hey, I'm sorry for stealing this character, and I went ahead and made a new one, and I'm just gonna go ahead and give this back because it didn't feel right, and I know that I gave her to you anyway. And then a few years later, we got back in contact with one another. I don't remember why, and again, this is my fault. There were a lot of times where I forgave her for doing the things that she did, for doing the evil things that she did to me. Because there was a lot of things that she did not deserve forgiveness for, but I was so forgiving that I let this person back in my life for the last time back in 2020. Me and Liv got back in contact, and I told her about how I felt bad about taking back the OC, and Liv gave me permission to just have the OC. And I want you to understand that this still stands today. I still own the rights to Mocha Flicks. That does not change. That has not changed, and I still plan to keep the character. She cannot change that. But she said, and I quote, on her Pyrus account, "Dude, if you want her back, you can. I'm not really going to do anything with her anyway." Yeah, just like all the other OCs you adopt and steal from people. That's right. Now, the reason I bring this up is because something about that, I screenshotted that conversation of her, giving me permission to take back Mocha, and I've kept that screenshot ever since because I knew she'd pull the following. Before Drew and Liv had their fallout in 2025, Drew was making a Cult of the Lamb OC for both of them. And Liv had a color palette just on hand, whipped it out, handed that shit over, and halfway through the drawing, Liv said, "Oh, I'm gonna use Mocha for inspiration because Heather gave me Mocha back before we stopped talking in 2022. That's a lie. She gave me Mocha back. And I had used her ever since. Just because I'm in the helluva-boss fandom now and I don't draw Mocha doesn't mean she's not mine. Like, I might just draw her more because of this. It's so funny. Like, dude, you do not own this OC. So unfortunately, Drew believed Liv and was like, oh, okay, and, went ahead and started drawing Mocha. And this is the result that happened, and I'm like, dude. No, Liv gave Mocha back to me, and that's that. Which also leads me to another situation that had happened. Back in July, on the 6th of 2022, this was like way before me and Liv had that fallout, there was an OC that T made as an adopt, and I had confided in Liv. I'm like, dude, I love this scarab OC. I'm so excited because I'm gonna buy it. I'm so excited. And I was in a time crunch at the time, so I had to leave the call after we were conversing about it. And not even 20 minutes after I got off Discord with her, she messages me on freaking Messenger, Facebook Messenger, and actively went behind my back, and she bought the character. And I'm like, dude, I was gonna purchase that. I told you in confidential that I was literally about to go purchase that character. Why would you why would someone do that? That is really scummy and spoiled brat behavior. And she was like, well, we can just co-own. And I'm like, okay, well, I didn't want her to pull some shit, so I went ahead and I sent her PayPal money for the adopt, and I paid fucking half. And it's ridiculous too, because she was like, you don't really have to if you don't want to. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna fucking pay for this character because I'm not gonna sit here and have you pull a 180 if we have another fallout, because I had a feeling that was gonna happen because it happened so much. Again, I gave her too many chances. But it happened so fucking much to the point that she I had messaged her and I was like, dude, I'm really scared and I know this is not important. Realistic, I don't know why I was fucking weird, but I wanted this character. I loved that bioluminescent scarab to the point that before I made my character Tiziri, I was gonna ship that bioluminescent scarab with Blitz and Remy. That was gonna be the OG. And she ripped it away from me. So I asked her, I'm like, dude, if we have a fallout, I'm worried that you're gonna rip this away. I paid money for this. And she was like, if you're worried, then I can have the OC, basically. She told me I could have the OC, but then in 2025, Like, I haven't drawn the character since we had the fallout because, like, I've been too scared of her, like, spreading vindictive lies about me and being vengeful. Being like, oh, I bought this character, here's the proof. Well, we co-owned that character, and then eventually she told me that I could literally keep the damn character if something happened. Well, clearly, we had a fallout, and I haven't spoken to her since 2022 of them all accusing me of being behind a Remy account that I would never use. And in 2025, she apparently posted, this is my Sona, and I love her very much. Art by, and I censored the original artist's name. But yeah, so that's why I'm honestly just gonna say, you know what, she literally gave me permission to, like, have this character if we follow, so I'm gonna start using it now. I did pay half for the character, and I sent that money to her. And I have the rights to this character, and I paid money, and I have not seen a fucking cent back, and I'm not gonna sit here and let her get away with this. So yeah, that is a new OC that y'all are gonna probably see me use from now on, and it's whatever now. Still to this day, she's actively spreading misinformation to her own friends, and even got her friend Taz involved, and Taz started commenting stuff and getting involved. And honestly, it's wild, because her friend Taz was literally going out of her way to be like, oh, Liv didn't do anything wrong. What do you call this then? The more we dig into Liv and her awful behavior, the more crazy psychotic shit gets. Like, it is bad. As of recently, because she still will not leave Drew alone, we have made this beware to hopefully get the real story out on what happened, but that's all the recent stuff as of late. As for past stuff she's done, oh my god, entitlement, manipulation, gaslighting, victim blaming, proof of Liv pretending to be Drew on her own account. She literally fat shamed Drew's shark character Mabel, saying that she doesn't like how fat Drew's character is. I'm sorry, what's wrong with being a little bit chubby? To show chub rep? Are you kidding me? Like, another thing is Liv and Drew were on call before their fallout, and Drew overheard Liv's boyfriend say something about how the Palestinians need to leave Israel alone. And then he proceeded to say, maybe the Palestinians shouldn't have fucked around and they wouldn't have gotten bombed. Drew said to Liv on this call, did he really just say what I think he fucking said? And Liv replied, on call, being like, no, don't worry, just ignore him, he's joking. So it's a joke that innocent children are dying by bombs every day? Good to know. Another instance was her boyfriend said he thinks Nazis are cool too, and she would laugh about that. Dude, my jaw dropped when I heard Drew talk about this shit. Like, what? Where does she find these people? Well, they're perfect. They're a perfect fit because they're both psychotic, I guess. There was another situation where there was transphobic things that Liv has said. When Drew used to be trans, back when they were still figuring themselves out, Drew came out as non-binary not too long ago and told Liv, and Liv made a comment like, oh, thank God, not gonna lie, I never saw you as a boy, I always saw you as a girl. As if to disregard that Drew is non-binary and still goes by they, them pronouns, and that is such an extremely transphobic comment to make. Like, dude, it's so bad. Like, the list of things that this user has done is awful. I feel bad that I can't show off screenshot proof because a lot of this was either in person with Drew or they were on a call together when all of this rest of this stuff went down. She has also made comments to Drew about being uncomfortable around gay people or seeing them fuck, saying, oh, they can do that, just don't do it around me, it's weird. Okay, homophobe. Good to know, homophobic. There was an instance where she lied about a miscarriage to get an ex to stay with her. And there's no proof on this right now. However, Liv's old roommate confirmed that Liv literally told her she lied about it and to get her ex to stay with her. He left her, which is fucking funny because, like, yeah, thank God he got away from this psychotic person because she would actually go out of her way to stalk him too, like actually pull up to his house and stalk him. Until she found her new horrible bomb-loving Nazi sucker boyfriend. So it is what it is. Not only does Liv misgender Drew, but she had a nasty habit of dead naming the fuck out of me. She knew I went by Heather. She stalks me every day, according to Drew. Like, she literally goes out of her way to bookmark my social medias on her profile. And she knows, like, I go by Heather. I don't go by my dead name anymore, and I go by they, them pronouns. And I'm sure she knows that now, since I came out as non-binary literally last year. Speaking of mine and Liv's history, a huge reason why I want to put this beware out there is because Olivia has lied to people and have told them that I forced her to do smut roleplays. But when people asked her for proof that she made this up, or that she made up some wild excuses of why she didn't have proof, and it just didn't add up. The truth is, I would never do that kind of thing. The truth is, yes, we met when she was a minor, and I was around 18 when we met, but I know better not to do that kind of thing. It is disgusting to me that people want to sit there and accuse me of very career-ending accusations and not have proof to back it up. It is cray-cray. I also have a lot of people who have known me since I was a kid that can back up that, yeah, Heather has never done that kind of thing. It's just really, really gross behavior. And again, people who have known me for a long time know that I'm not the type of person that would do that kind of fucking nasty shit. People who are pedos deserve to burn in hell. So, yeah. With a bit of history of me and Liv and I met from the get-go. And from the get-go, things were really off with Liv's behavior. Liv had the need to be entitled and demand me to talk with her 24/7. And when I didn't give Liv the time of day, Liv would throw a spoiled tantrum and be extremely rude, being like, where are you? Where did you go now? Like, she would be really entitled. If you don't answer her right away, she'd assume you were ignoring her, even though I had a life and I had a boyfriend at the time where she'd started displaying this behavior. And when I started hanging out with this boyfriend I was with, I spent less time online and I spent more time with him. And she didn't like that. And this is the part where I kind of was like kind of blunt, and I told her I didn't like the friend group she was hanging out with because one of the people in that friend group was rude to me. And I didn't like it. So I kind of just like excluded myself from that group and drifted away. And I told her the truth. I'm like, I don't want to be around them. They're dicks. And I said to her, please don't tell them I said that because it'll only cause them to bitch at me. And this was the first red flag because she told them. And she also bitched about me having a boyfriend, as I said. So that's why I was kind of like upset. And I was like, hey, seems like you're pissed off that I have a boyfriend now. And she was like, no, I'm not. And I told her I'm having a rough day and I didn't really feel like calling her. And she was like, please, I want to Skype you. I'm free. And I'm like, dude, sometimes people just don't want to deal with shit. Like, leave. I'm willing to own up to my mistakes rather than hiding and making up lies. I was a stupid person once. And I still kind of am a little stupid. Like, I say some silly things. But not nearly as bad as the things that she's done. The bitter, sour shit that she's done is wild. And again, around the time that I met Liv, I was a stupid person learning how to better my behaviors and my mental health. And a lot of the time back then, I was extremely blind to my behaviors, and the only things I used to do was I used to guilt trip people, and I used to be a little bit manipulative, and I was blind. The things I did at first, in my eyes, it didn't come off as guilt trip. I wasn't trying to guilt trip people on purpose. That's the difference between me and Liv. I never used to guilt trip people on purpose or manipulate them on purpose. I would never do that kind of thing on purpose. And once it was pointed out that I did those things, I actually straightened up and I'm like, oh, wait, that is manipulative. Wow, why didn't I realize that? And I worked on myself, and I bettered myself, and I took accountability. But the difference between me and Liv is she does this shit on purpose, and then she lies to get her own way. And I don't do that. That is, like, really awful. So that's why I tell my friends, hey, if I'm doing something really bad, please tell me. Because unfortunately, I'm blind to a lot of the behaviors that I used to do. And hell, I'm still sometimes blind to the things I do. And I have my friends work with me on that. Because I hate when people are like, oh, you did this. And I'm like, wait, what did I do? And they'll be like, don't play games. You know what you did. I hate when people do that. Because sometimes I don't realize that I do things that can come off as really awful when actually I'm not trying to be awful. And it's sad because I just need a little bit of a boost. Like, hey, Heather, just want to let you know your behaviors are looking like this. Don't do that. And I'm like, fuck, I feel so bad. I'm sorry. I did not mean to come off like I'm guilt tripping. And the things that I have done in the past that are guilt tripping, I can use that as an example. So an example, one of my friends and I were working on art together, and there was something that happened, and I told her I'm not going to be able to pay something. And I was struggling with food money, and it was really bad to the point where I wanted to show her because I was afraid that people would accuse me of lying. So in my head, I'm like, oh, well, I don't want this person to accuse me of lying about my financial situation. So I took a picture of my almost practically empty fridge and freezer back in 2022. And I showed her, I'm like, look, this is how badly I need food. And I wasn't trying to guilt trip, but like I was scared that, because there was a lot of people that did me wrong. So from an outside perspective, that kind of really looks like extreme guilt trip. And I didn't know this. I wasn't trying to guilt trip on purpose. I was just trying to cover my bases and say, hey, I'm not making up. You know, I didn't want anyone to think that I was trying to like lie about it, because a lot of people would start causing a lot of problems and being like, hey, they're lying about their financial situation, when I wasn't. So that's an extreme example of like what I used to do as a form of guilt trip, but I didn't mean to do that. When they pointed that out to me, saying that that's guilt trip and they didn't need to see my freezer, and I'm like, oh, I'm really sorry. I didn't know it was guilt trip. I wasn't trying to do that. And, you know, it's stuff like that. Whereas Olivia has actively gone out of her way to manipulate, go behind false accounts to harass me and Drew and hide her tracks. Basically try to cover her tracks. But she didn't really do a very good job at covering her tracks, now did she? Lol. But yeah, that's an example of the kind of guilt tripping I'm talking about that I used to do. And I did not mean to do those things. I also wanted to point out that there was an instance that Liv would pretend to be Drew on her own account on Facebook, and I was like, oh, well, they hang out in person sometime. Maybe, just maybe, they share accounts because they're that buddy-buddy. I didn't know at the time, but Liv started out the conversation as, this is Drew. For one, I asked via note, so I'm not accusing you of or anything, but you know, basically like pretending to be Drew. And when I asked Drew back in, like, when we got back in contact in 2025, Drew was like, I beg your fucking pardon, that is not me. And I'm like, really? This isn't you in this screenshot talking to me through Olivia Jones's fucking Facebook? And they were like, no, I never speaked word of this. And then Drew told me that around the time where Liv was accusing me of reffing and tracing Drew's art, Liv apparently was guiding Drew in drawing an art piece that Liv was like literally guiding. Hey, she was like, do this pose specifically. Like it was a very specific pose of an art piece. And then Liv apparently was in the car with Drew and got really angry at me, like in the car with Drew. Like I wasn't in a call with them or anything, but like Liv apparently was conversing with Drew about how I apparently copied an art piece, which got Drew really upset. Little did Drew know, the art piece that I posted was already an art piece that existed on DeviantArt that I drew. So it's like, the point is, she was literally starting drama. And I think me and Drew and Liv had a fallout because like they cut me out of their lives. Again, like that was when did that happen? What are the dates? I think it was like 2017. November 17th of 2017. If that goes to show you how many times Liv has literally tried to take me out of Drew's life. Because she's jealous that Drew can and she doesn't like to think that Drew can have more than one best friend. And it's sad that she has to go out of her way to actively go about heinous ways of doing it, like, you know, pretending to be me and saying something that I would never say, or pretending to be Drew on her own account, which is wild. Fairly recently, I did a vent collab about Liv and Drew losing Liv. Because, look, they were blind by the scummy behavior Olivia has done all of these years, and Drew spent over a decade being friends with someone who was pretty wicked and psychotic, and Drew had no idea. So Drew, right now, is not only hurt, but they had nightmares about what happened. It was bad. Like, you can't just get over something like this and walk away. This is something someone can't just walk away from and, like, grow up from, because there were some very traumatic things that were just thrown into people's faces here. She even went out of her way on multiple occasions to do dirty deeds to turn me and Drew against one another. That is diabolical. You are one crafty fucking mastermind, and you got away with it too for a little while. Like, how can Drew just grow up and get over something like that? Imagine being friends with someone for 10 years and then they go and they say and then they go and they say don't get raped in your sleep. I'm sorry, like, while I have no words, like, that is really heinous. So we did a collab, a My Little Pony collab. We did end up using Liv's OC in it. We kept it kind of a dark and anonymous. Like, I don't care if I used her OC because, again, and maybe I'm in the wrong for this, but she's stolen 2 of my OCs and she's stolen Drew's OCs, so I have no remorse. And instead of fighting her own battles and confronting me herself on my own account, Olivia went out of her way to send her friend Taz to state that Olivia did nothing wrong, even though Drew sent Taz proof of what Liv did on Facebook. So Liv sent Taz into my collab comments and sorry, but I replied back with a snarky comeback because, again, I do not care if I lose followers. I'm not a professional and I don't care how people think of me because I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of what the internet holds and I'm not afraid of what people can do. I'm as open as I am because I've got nothing to lose. Yet Taz sided with Olivia. I'm sorry. How are you gonna be a mother of 2 children and condone rape threats and OC theft and death threats and all of this other shit from an outside perspective? You're sheltering Liv, and it is a bad look. You are just as bad as Liv for supporting rape. So that's cool. I don't post what I post for attention. I do not post what I post for drama. I post what I post to spread the word of little spoiled brats who like to spread misinformation and do diabolical dirty deeds to pretend like they're me on an alt account that actually wasn't me. People have a right to know the wild headache of a drama eater like Liv is, because she soaks up drama like a sponge. I decided enough was enough. I warned her about this beware, actually, and this was, again, this was me mentioning to her, I literally reached out to her on my dead name account, and I told her, I'm like, dude, this has gone on long enough, like, you know, and I told her I know who she is, I know what she's done, I have all the proof, and if she doesn't leave Drew alone, you know, I'm gonna be posting this beware. And, well, she contacted Drew on a random phone number being like, hey, I'm sorry about everything. Can we meet up? I'll meet you halfway. Literally said that she'll drive halfway to meet Drew up and talk and work things out, which was incredibly suspicious. And Drew immediately blocked the number and didn't respond. And then Taz had the audacity to accuse Drew of being the one who should apologize to Liv because Liv left her alone. And Taz accused Drew of saying some pretty heinous shit too. The only heinous, quote unquote, thing that Drew had said to Liv was, and I quote, something about Liv failing to get into the Navy, which apparently, according to Drew's husband, is the easiest thing you can get into branch-wise. And after I sent that message on my dead name Facebook, I blocked her, and then she unblocked me on my Heather Feather account fairly recently and sent me some shit where she did admit that the Remy Smallbean was her. I just wanted to have this at the end because, dude, it's wild. Like, like, this is just so bad. Like, how do you just go and say, you know, it's funny. Like, it's so wild. I blocked her I blocked her right away after she sent that, because after I sent what I sent, because, you know, it's a win-win when you get to block someone and not give them the chance to respond back snarky shit. So anyway, that's the gist of everything that she has mostly done. If there's anything more that I'd like to add, there was someone named Tristan Bolliard that got involved, and Liv and him did some fucking conspiracy shit to try to get my phone number. Liv and this Tristan Bolliard guy, they got my phone number on an old Peridot roleplay account, pretending to be some person in college, and they were trying to like get my number to hang out with me because at the time I had no friends IRL, like all my friends were online. And Tristan Bolliard got my number and literally went out of his way to contact my mom, and accused me of forcing Liv to do sex roleplays. No proof to back up. He was yelling at my mom, and he was like, "I'm gonna contact your local authorities, blah blah blah, to put your daughter away." My mom went ahead and was like, "Oh, don't you work for people who have Asperger's syndrome? I'm gonna call your work if you don't stop calling my daughter," because this guy literally like told me to drink bleach, and my mom wasn't having it. He had literally told me to drink bleach and to drop down to hell. And my mom was fed up with that, and she hung up on his ass. And apparently, according to Drew, this Tristan Bolliard guy is in jail right now because he touched little kids and is a pedophile. So, yeah, but yeah, Liv literally, like, made my life a living hell because of all the things that I grew up with. Anyway, hi Liv, if you're watching this, beware on your, narcissistic self. If you're seeing this, maybe you should get out, because you're in the wrong here. You've always been in the wrong. Never once have you ever been a decent human being, constantly stalking me and now spying on Drew. I know you used to stalk me all the time. You even got super duper defensive when Drew called you out on literally for actively stalking my Facebook to see if I'm posting and talking shit about you. I will state for a while you weren't even an afterthought in my brain, and I never literally talked 1 ounce of anything after 2022. But you know, since you want to continue harassing Drew and saying things that didn't actually happen, congratulations, Olivia Livvykjones. You have a ultimate beware on you with proof of everything you've done to make my life a living hell. Proof you've done to Drew. You are the infamous Remy Smallbean account. Congratulations. Do you want a medal? Are you proud of yourself? The life you say you have is literally spying on me and wasting your time. Just borderline being a dumb person who literally is obnoxiously, like, unbearable. I know you're gonna post and say that I'm talking shit, and I'm sure you're gonna warp shit around without showing proof of what really happened in this beware. So if people come at me or people come at Drew, I'm not only gonna actually add to this beware, but I'm also gonna be like, hey, this is what really happened. And I have a beware document where I can actually show proof that you actually did the shit that you did. It's literally not me posting this for drama, and I'm sorry that you have to be a whiny brat and cry to Tazzy Wazzy about your problems that you started and you picked a fight. You know, fight fire with fire, am I right? You know I'm not afraid to stand up for myself and to stand up for the people I love. I've been silent all these years because I've left you alone. I've respected you. I did my best to move on. The only reason why you're on my mind right now is because I'm protecting my friend that you've been pulling away from me all these years. You have been literally ripping Drew away from me because you are too butthurt and too big mad that Drew can have more than one friend. You are not the main character of this fucking story. Well, I mean, technically you are, but you're more like the villain of this story. So like, yeah, I'm not talking shit. If you're gonna tell your buddies that I'm talking shit, or you're gonna tell I'll call them T because I'm not going to say their username online. If you're going to whine and tell T that, oh, Heather stole the scarab imp from me. No, you gave me permission, and I also paid you fucking money for the character as well. So I'm going to be starting using the character because it's mine. You gave me the character. You're cooked. You're cooked, my guy. Like, there's nothing you can do to, like, back out of this. You are a liar. You are a thief. And I hope you get caught up with that, by the way. And maybe you should, like, stop what you're doing, man. Go seek therapy. Like, I'm not saying this to be mean, genuinely. Like, I'm concerned for your well-being. You've literally gotten away. Your dad was in prison when I first met you, and your mom was abusive and is a drug addict, and now she's in jail. It just goes to show that this shit runs in your DNA, that you're a psychotic ass person who needs help. Like, you need help. And I'm sorry if this is mean. Like, I have this thing called being blunt, and the truth is, I have no remorse. You've done so much shit to me, and it's to the point where I've had it. I have no nice words to say. So, leave me and Drew alone, and you have every right to stay silent.